Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to the Artist Next Level podcast. Super happy to be here with you today. I have a guest with me, Chris Cantele. He is the president of the Chicago Alliance of Visual Artists, an organization based here in Chicago that serves artists age 50 and over. And it's a great organization. We're going to discover all about it, what it is, how it works, how they serve artists. And I think it's going to be a good chat. And of course, we're going to get to know Chris a little bit better. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be really, really good.
Resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
Well, Chris, good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Good, Sergio. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here in the Artist Next Level podcast. Always fun to meet new people and to connect and to chat and to discover, what's happening with other artists and other, which are also in the art community. And you are the one who have been quite involved here in the art community, particularly in the Chicagoland area. You bring your own experience to this organization known as CAVA, right? Chicago Alliance of Visual Artists. And as I said in the introduction, it serves artists which are age 50 and over, which now that qualifies me because I am 51 now. So
man, right on.
So. right on, exactly. And that is great because the reason I love this chat that we're gonna have, how often we talk about the younger artists, and we put a lot of focus on the emerging artists and all this, but there's so much wisdom and so much information that is gained by just being around for a while, right? Like, when I got to 50, all of a sudden, like, wait a minute, I've been here for quite a bit. I think I know a thing or two. So I think, that is really good. And an organization that serves that particular audience, I think is fabulous. So we're going to have a good chat. But before we talk about the organization in itself, let's get to know you a little bit better. Chris, if you can tell here our friends a little bit more about you. Did you grow up here in Chicago and how did you get involved with the arts?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm a Chicago South Sider. I've been here my whole life, and I actually was in the advertising business, and I started an advertising agency back in 1996. I built it up. I sold it in 2009. I stopped. I left that new organization in 2011. And I was looking for kind of my passion areas. And my passion areas have always been the arts, visual arts, cultural, and also scuba diving. So I'm a professional diver at the Shedd Aquarium. And in 2011, I was, well, the interesting thing is, my advertising agency, we specialized in companies that wanted to reach the boomer and older consumer. Okay. So when I left the agency, I was looking for an organization that I could perhaps tap into in the arts field that focused on the older consumer. And on Chicago Artists Resource, there was a board member, like a solicitation for board members. I joined the board. At that time, it was called the Senior Artist Network.
Okay.
Very, very limited. It had been around for a while. They had a dwindling membership. I think when I joined back in 2012, they, had probably under 70 members. In 2015, I became president. The first thing that I did was I kind of set forth in a rebranding effort, and we changed the name to the Chicago Alliance of Visual Artists. We lowered the age of admission because at that time we had about 70 visual artists in the group, and the average age was about 74. Okay. So by doing this, by lowering the age threshold to 50, and really just kind of like taking advantage of a kind of a social media network, we've been able to grow the organization to about 240 visual artists.
Oh, wow, fabulous.
Yes, and now the average age is about 66. We just did a survey this past year, It's about 66. So it's really growing.
Mhm.
What's fabulous about it is we're getting a higher caliber of work as well.
Mhm.
And we're starting to get, we're starting to basically be attractive to larger venues.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so
No, that's awesome, and I love that. You're using your expertise in the business area and the business field to bring into an organization that oftentimes, the arts organizations sometimes are the last ones to catch up on the
yes,
marketing and what's happening in the world, and of course artists too. So being able to bring in what you have learned, all the experience that you have gathered from leading your own business and your own marketing firm, and now applying that into an organization. Of course, we can see the results with the growth of that and all the changes that you guys have done, which is fabulous. And tell me, what is one of the things, as you're looking as an organization, looking for this particular artist, that you're looking for, what kind of art besides age, what kind of artist is like the perfect fit for an organization like Chicago
yeah. Well,
Alliance of Visual Artists?
since we are kind of broad based,
Okay.
visual, any kind of visual art, I would say that we've got a fairly significant mixture of sculpture, fine art, photography, mixed media. And I think what we would really like to do is we would like to start to bring in some digital arts as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's that we work on that. We're trying to kind of encapsulate that.
Mhm.
But it's really it's a good we've got a great showing. It's a really well balanced group of artists.
Mhm.
In terms of what we show, um, we deliver 4 to 6 exhibitions every year in
Oh, that's
various
great.
places around the city.
Mhm.
And so, for example, next year will be, well, this year we've got a show opening in a couple of weeks at the Evanston Art Center.
It's a
Uh,
beautiful, beautiful venue.
yes.
Mhm.
And then next year we'll be at the Chicago Cultural Center.
Mhm.
We'll be at a kind of a gallery studio called Dwell Studios.
Awesome.
We'll be at the Bridgeport Arts Center and then also at the Epiphany Center for the Arts. So,
Yeah, I actually just recently visited the Epiphany. Such a nice place.
yes,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so and we're always kind of sourcing
Mhm.
interesting venues for our artists because
Mhm.
that's the idea is, I mean, as you know, art practice can be very solitary.
Right.
And so we try to create these exhibitions that are in interesting spaces, that have good traffic, have good demand, and we're basically exposing our membership, we're
Mhm.
exposing their work to
Yeah.
areas all around the city.
Right.
So
And
yeah,
probably, one of the questions that some of our friends will have right away who are listening to this podcast or watching it through YouTube, who may not be from Chicago, but say, hey, I'm 52, 55, 60,
right, yeah.
I'm not in Chicago. Is there any benefit, from being part of this?
Well,
Is it
absolutely.
acceptable, to have artists
Yeah,
from outside of
yeah,
Chicago?
yeah. No, absolutely. We actually, the past couple of years since
Mhm.
we've been growing and expanding our footprint, we have had artists from, I don't know, I think the last exhibition we had artists from about 6 states. So
Oh, wonderful.
California, New York,
Hmm.
and surrounding states. So Michigan, Indiana,
Of course,
Wisconsin,
yeah.
Iowa.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, people can, I say it's probably one of the best cheap dates that you can have in terms of,
Chivalry.
I mean, seriously, it's $40 a year to join, and
Wow.
it's $35 to submit to an exhibition. And one of the exhibitions is included in the membership. It's the member show. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so it's a great organization for
Yeah, and,
artists
f-
together.
at that price point, so surprising. It really removes any barrier of entry. Which in a lot of times becomes quite expensive for artists to join.
Absolutely. And not only that, but we also do, we do an annual learning symposium, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a
Yes,
minute,
of
which is
course.
going to be
Hmm.
part of this year. We
Hmm.
do kind of a meet and greet critique.
Hmm.
We generally have a business luncheon once a year at one of the museums in the area.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we do some, we do some social activities, some social educational activities as well.
Yeah. Mm.
Again, because people like these artists, they're always, very working, very solitary. So it's a
Right.
great networking opportunity.
As you have been there for a while and you've been getting to know the artists that you guys serve through the organization, what do you find be maybe the top challenges that artists face today? The particular organization that you're working with.
Well, selling art, that's
Mhm.
always right. That I mean
Right.
that's really the big challenge
Hmm.
and so we for our members we're going to really kind of step up.
Hmm.
We've kind of relied on digital media,
Yeah.
social media. We're going to really kind of step it up, and we've been developing kind of a collector model database.
Oh,
So
nice. Hmm.
when we have our exhibitions this next year, aside from the traditional digital media that we've been doing, we're going to be doing some kind of outbound conquest mailings as well. So
Hmm.
just to really kind of tap into the people that are identified as patrons of the arts, they're identified as attending art exhibitions,
Hmm.
kind of age and demographics, and so so we're really going to try to step it up and bring in, some revenue for the artists. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the key. Bring, increase. We generally will have about 100 people at, an opening exhibition. We'd
Hmm.
like to double that.
Right.
And
Right.
we'd like to, really kind of crank it up, on behalf of our artists.
No, that's great. I think that's
Yeah.
awesome. And as an individual, you're Chris, with your marketing experience coming into an organization, an arts organization, what are some of the I would say assets that you brought in, from the marketing world into the arts organization that you lead now?
Well, really, really kind of rebranding the
Okay.
idea, because I mean, the Senior Artist Network, again, the level of art, and the level of participation, and also the age, kind of told a story
Hmm.
that the Senior Artist Network was really kind of reflecting an older audience.
Right.
So by doing this, and by creating the Chicago Alliance of Visual Artists,
Hmm.
we were really able to
Hmm.
open up to and really start to create more of a buzz. And I mean, ultimately, when we look at kind of a long-term strategy, we could see this as being somewhat of like an umbrella organization,
Yeah.
Chicago Alliance of Visual Artists. I mean, we focus on a lot of strategic partnerships. So, by having exposure in all these other venues, we're able to, well, not only leverage the venue for people that are members of that,
Hmm.
like the Evanston Arts Center. I mean, they have classes, they've got,
Right.
seminars, they have multiple exhibitions. And so it's a very dynamic place. And so
Hmm.
by kind of creating these partnerships with other dynamic arts organizations, it's a great fit because, see, a lot of times, so let's say, people are taking classes, art
Hmm.
classes, sculpture classes,
Yeah.
photography at an art organization. You know, a lot of times they want to know then, oh, well, how do I get my work exhibited?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so we basically we're like a non-competitive
Hmm.
body because we're a virtual organization,
Yeah.
and we move our exhibitions all over the city. And some we've been out in Oak Brook, and we've been some up in um, the North Shore Art League and Winnetka.
Hmm.
So by moving around and by partnering with these organizations,
Hmm.
it really kind of develops our organization.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that's very smart because we live in a world now which so many things can be done digitally,
yes,
and you don't necessarily have to have a brick and mortar space to call
yeah,
home. You can be hybrid and do things where they make sense and where you can find like these particular strategic partners where things can happen, and that also gives additional visibility to the organization because you go to another community and where they may
yeah,
not necessarily know who you are versus as if you we're only in a brick and mortar space and everybody has to always come to that space, you know.
Exactly. And, you know, and we've talked about that as well, but this kind of a little bit looser,
Yeah.
you know, a little bit more virtual type of an organization, it really enables us to pick and
Yeah.
choose where we want to be strategically.
Right.
And I mean, just to give you an idea, so before we went into the pandemic, we had about 215 members.
Hmm.
Pandemic happened, and the membership dropped off. I mean, it dropped
Mm.
off. I think we dropped down to about 160.
Okay.
We didn't stop exhibiting.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? You know, everybody's going Zoom, everybody's going virtual. It's
Yeah.
we we there was one exhibit
Uh-huh.
that we were about to have the venue closed down. We did a kind of a three-dimensional, you
Yeah.
know, gallery
Uh-huh.
on. But ever since that, I said we're always going to have a live exhibit. You know,
Yeah.
so what we did was we would have a live exhibit. We would mirror it with social, with, you know, like an online
Yeah.
presence
Hmm.
for the first couple of shows, but then we just got rid of the online presence. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, you know, people want like, you know, when you see visual art, I mean, you want to like experience it, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
be, you know, you want to be there with it. You want to see how people interact with the art. And so,
Mhm.
and, you know, even though I said, you know, we're not going to have maybe a big attendance, but let's keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're coming out of the pandemic now with 240 members. So,
That's amazing. That's
yeah,
great.
so it really, we didn't, you know, we lost a little, you know, we lost a little momentum, but then we kind of recaptured that
Yeah.
momentum.
And I think it happens, you know, in all organizations during the pandemic, you know, where there was this kind of it was new for everyone. Nobody knew exactly how long. We
Right.
first thought
Yeah,
we all thought it was going to be like a couple of week thing, and it ended up being almost 2 years, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
but it's good to be on the other side and to see people again gathering and all those things. And I assume one of the bigger parts also of this organization is the networking, because at the end
Yes.
of the day, you know, we join organizations, we join you know, groups like this because we want to meet others, because we want to connect, we want to have this idea of community. Tell me a little bit about, you know, some of the you know, besides the exhibition, some of the events that are specifically designed for artists to get to know each other, to connect, and to create networking.
Yeah. So what we do, so for example, this past Sunday, we had our members show that was closing at the Burger Park Mansion, the
Okay.
Gunder Mansion at
Yeah.
Burger Park. And so we put together for our final Sunday of the show, we put together an intergenerational art event. We've done that a few
Oh,
times. It's really successful. Yeah,
that is cool.
because we have an older membership. Okay. And so what we'll do is we'll tap a local school
Okay.
and they'll bring, you know, school kids in to participate in kind of a collaborative project with the older artists.
Oh, I love that. That is a pretty cool
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. So we just did that last Sunday, and it
Uh,
really turned out nice. It really turned into kind of a community workshop. We
Yeah.
had a theme of society,
Okay.
and everybody sat around at big tables, and
Mhm.
we all kind of crafted these, you know, collages based on the theme.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. I mean, you know, we had kids, we had people from the community that just, you know, kind of came in and wanted to participate. And it was just a really nice happening. So again, that's, you know, that's a great way to spend the day creating something, you know. I
Create.
mean, yeah, everybody
Yeah,
loved it. It was just
that,
like, you know, there's a lot of great energy there.
that's
So
amazing. And I think again, you know, this idea in which you can connect the various generations, you know, the gap in between. There's so much to learn. You know, as I get older, I find such an affinity to learning from the younger kids, and you know, who have a totally different mindset on how they grew up. You know, we grew up outside; they grew up with their devices. You
yeah,
know, and playing.
exactly. Right, right.
But we don't
Yes.
have
Yeah.
to be enemies, right? We can actually learn from each other. You know, they teach you tricks in here, and you know, there's so much value in inclusion versus in separation. A lot of times, you know, we are pushed to be separated and to be in our own place. But you know, when you create these opportunities, I think it's as you said, you know, the result in the end is amazing and enriching for both sides.
It is. You know, I mean, it's great energy and it's really, I mean, to have our artists, you know, kind of in a mentorship capacity,
Right.
uh, and just it's really good. I mean, I love to see that
Mhm.
interaction. So
Super. Now, one of the also the pillars for of Chicago Alliance of Visual Arts or Artists, I'm sorry, is also education, the educational
yes.
component, and specifically on November 6th, you have what's called a learning symposium. So, tell me a little bit about that because that's kind of how we got connected. I have
Yes,
the honor to be part of that and be speaking there as well. So, but tell me a little bit about what is the symposium, how it got started, and what's going to happen this year.
yeah, the idea with the symposium is really to deliver topics for the
Mhm.
membership or non-members. Non-members are welcome to attend as well.
Mhm.
But to deliver topics that are relevant. And so this year, and normally we have two or three, more or less speakers, and then we'll close the day with a workshop. And
Okay.
so this year, you are speaking on the nitty gritty of marketing your art, right?
Yes, I love that title.
Uh, uh, we have Keith Bringe from Rare Nest Gallery, and he's going to be talking about um, gaining gallery representation.
Hmm.
And then we're going to close the day with a monoprint workshop by Sputnik Press,
Super.
where everybody can kind of get their hands,
Hmm.
on a project to kind of end the day. So it's November 6th. It is the closing date of our later impression show, which is
Okay.
at the Evanston Arts Center.
Hmm.
And people can go on our website, which is www.wearare.org.
Hmm.
So wearecava.org, and they can register for the learning symposium. So
Super.
yeah,
Super.
yeah.
And it starts at 1, I believe, right? Or
Starts
noon
at
or
1 o'clock,
1?
yeah, and it'll end about 5 o'clock
Mhm.
with the three topics. We're generally we've got I think 30 registered right now. We're looking for
Super.
40, so we've got about 10 spots open,
Hmm.
and it's going to be a nice afternoon. I mean, and again, getting together with 40 other
Hmm.
artists, to kind of engage in a learning experience.
Hmm.
It's really it's people love it. It's really a great way to network and a great way to learn something on a
Hmm.
Sunday afternoon. So
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I cannot wait to be there with you guys and meet artists too, and maybe seeing some friends who haven't seen in a while. And yeah, I think that's a good, that's a great number. Around 40 people. That's still
right,
considered,
right,
for a workshop, still considered sort of a group that is manageable, where you can still ask questions. And when you're on
yes,
a huge conference with 300 people, you cannot ask a
right.
question because you will never get answers. But
And
and
we're
I,
going to be right in the galleries, the
yeah.
main gallery space of the Evanston Arts Center. So it's a great if people haven't been to the Evanston Arts Center, it's a really good venue.
Yeah,
So
it's a beautiful space. And
yes.
yeah, so I think definitely this is an opportunity for sure for artists to join, to check it out, and to sign up. As you mentioned, the website, what is it? We are Cava.
Yeah, wearecava.org. Yeah.
.org. Excellent.
Uh,
Well, that's awesome. And the
or
event,
they could look up
November 6th.
Chicago Alliance of Visual Artists and it'll pop up,
It'll pop out right
so
there. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
That's how I found it too.
Right. Okay. So
Very, very easy. Well,
yeah.
and something that I really admire too is your enthusiasm. You're also really reaching out and looking at how to make this work as the world continues to change, which has been one of my topics for the last couple of years in my podcast, in my videos, Breakfast with Sergio. How the world changes, right? And as artists, we need to change with it. If we fall in love
Mhm.
with what we used to do 10 years ago, 20 years, especially now as I get older, I've seen how the world has changed. I remember the day without internet and without social media, and now where we are now. And I just had to keep reminding myself, I have to stay current, because if I fall in love with what it is now, well, I'll be obsolete, 5 years from now. And I
Yeah,
look
it's like who moved my cheese,
exactly, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. You have to always be kind of looking out there. What's going on? What's
Hmm.
changing? I mean,
Right.
yeah, where are we going? I mean, how is art sold? All those things are,
Yeah.
it kind of drives our curiosity.
Right.
So,
And I love, since I spoke with you over the phone or we're talking about the symposium, you really came across somebody who's looking for that, and someone who leads an organization, it's really important because it's so easy. I've seen so many organizations who very quickly stay stagnant,
yes,
or
yes,
just become like a little club for everybody to just be part of. We get to know each other. We have a little show once a year, and
yeah.
everybody's happy, but they're not really looking forward to changing, to moving, to adapting to how the world is changing. And that's something that really inspired me from what you are doing from the Chicago Alliance of Visual Artists. How it's also in the forefront of that. Say, hey, just because we're an organization that is age 50 and up doesn't mean we're staying behind. Doesn't mean that
Oh,
we're just
absolutely.
sitting,
I mean,
chilling,
yeah,
and just having
yeah.
a good old time. It's about really addressing what's happening in the world and looking at how we adapt ourselves as artists. And that is, I think, super important. And I can see in the way you are yourself that reflects
Mhm.
in how the organization that you're leading also is moving
Yeah,
forward.
it's great. I mean, and it's great people. I mean,
Mhm.
really, I mean, the people that we have in the organization, I mean, it's a really good group. We've got a board, so we're always kind of looking maybe to add an additional board member or two.
Yeah.
But we've got a board of about 10 people right now,
Yeah.
and it's a very high functioning, very well organized board. So
Love
everybody
it.
enjoys doing what they're doing, and
Love it.
it's all volunteer. I mean, we are an all
Yeah.
volunteer organization, so that's
Right.
also kind of cool.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Chris, you've been so awesome in this conversation. Very excited. I would love if you have a word of advice or encouragement to an artist who maybe is at this particular age, 50 and over, like you and me, who's
Hmm.
maybe is like, it's I kind of gave it a try in the past, or I maybe I went into a different field,
Right,
and
right.
now I'm this age where I want to take back art, just kind of a word of encouragement, of for an
Yeah.
artist like that. Yeah.
Well, I would say that, re-engagement is
Mhm.
very important. And I talk to people a lot, going
Okay.
around I'm involved with some other arts organizations as well.
Yeah.
And I talk to people a lot. And, you talk to a lot of artists and they're kind of so insular. They're like, oh, yeah, I do art,
Mhm.
well, you exhibit. No, that I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. So
Yeah.
it's about re-engaging, and it's about finding something like this, like Kava, that it's a simple thing. You join and you exhibit. I mean, so and
Mhm.
then and the more they start doing that, the more then they start connecting with other artists, and
Yeah.
then it becomes it's more. Then they're in a community. They're all of a sudden
Yeah.
they're on the track now, right? They're
Right.
not they're
Right.
not sitting on the sidelines. I mean, and that's what it is. It's like it's being engaged,
Mhm.
and it's not a big commitment. I mean, it's really. I mean, you can we have members that just kind of focus on those 4 to 6 exhibitions a year, and
Mhm.
we have other ones that really enjoy everything. So
Mhm. Mhm.
or people pick and choose what exhibit they want to do.
Yeah.
So
No, that's nice. And I think when you do that, it also elevates your level of confidence in yourself as an artist and in
yeah,
your own work.
absolutely,
The
absolutely.
way first time you see your work, or maybe you haven't seen it in a while on a gallery, on a show, on a wall, it does makes you feel better about the work, gives you more enthusiasm to go back and make more art. And I
Yeah,
think
or
that is very
we
important.
we get people. I mean, there was somebody that it was so cute. She had this beautiful kind of sculpture, this nest sculpture,
Hmm.
and she won an award at our last show, and
Oh,
that
nice.
was her first show. You know,
Okay. Wow.
and she was like, "Man, this is awesome! Like, here, I
Just like, when is the next one?
just join." Right, exactly. When's the next one? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
That,
mean, so that it does. It's like it
I
does.
love
It
it.
makes it elevates people's confidence level.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah, and on our website, we also have some videos that we've created of artists, like a
I've seen those. Yeah,
one-on-one.
I've seen like
Right.
artist studio
Yeah,
visits
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
So, and oh, we do an annual studio visit program as well, where
Ah,
we'll pick kind of a geography, and we'll bring our membership in to open their studios, and
that's
then we have
exciting.
people come in and visit studios. So,
That's
yeah,
exciting.
yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for giving us kind of an inside look into Kava and all the amazing things that you guys are doing. I want to wish you all great success in what you're doing. Looking forward to see you on November 6th. It's my
Yes.
birthday month, so I'm
Okay.
celebrating too.
Woo! Raise the
I,
roof.
I was
So, yeah.
thinking, yeah, I think, am I going to be 51 or 52? Now I'm confused. I have to ask my wife.
Oh,
She keeps track of it.
okay. Right, right. Well,
I know I
I
passed 50.
joined Kava at 50, and I'm 59 now. So,
There you go. I'm
yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I'm okay. I said 51. Am I 51 or am I gonna
No,
be
it might be
51
52.
or 52? Now I'm confused. I gotta check.
Okay. Check with your wife.
I don't
She'll
want to
know.
mislead anybody. Yeah, exactly,
You
right?
don't want to miss your birthday either.
No, that one I won't forget.
Right.
Well,
All right,
Chris,
man.
thank you so much. I want to again invite our friends to do us a big favor. If you enjoy this conversation, please share it with your friends. We will really appreciate it. As you heard, even though it's a Chicago-based organization, doesn't mean it only serves Chicago artists. So you may be in California or Miami or somewhere else around the country and you want to participate, just go to the website. You will find them there as well, and connect with Chris as well, and get engaged. I think get engaged. Or if you have a friend who said, you know what, maybe I'm 30 years old, but I know an artist, who would benefit from this conversation, please also forward it to them. I think that would be really amazing. More people can join, more people can be part of it. And of course, if you're around in the city, you want to join us on the 6th of November, I'll be there. Chris will be there. Keith, Sarah, Sputnik Press will be there, and it's going to be really awesome. So, and many of the other artists who are part of this great organization. So, thank you, Chris, once again. Please, are you guys on Instagram or Facebook that we can find you there?
We are. We're on Facebook. We're also on Instagram. I think Instagram is Kava Artist Group. They might both be Kava Artist Group. So,
Kava Artist
yeah.
Group. Okay, we'll find you there as well and follow you.
We're also on Meetup. So,
okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Great.
All right.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I will see you in the next level. Goodbye.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.